Hi there. House of the Dragon Season 2 just released its full final trailer, and accompanying that, they had the usual tie-in interviews with Entertainment Weekly, talking to cast and crew. There was only really one big issue in it about how much or little Sarah Snow is in it. I made a full video about that, but I realized there were about three other smaller points I wanted to make spin-off videos about, short videos just to share this quick factoid with you, one slide only. In this one, it's something that showrunner Ryan Condal said. He promised that even though the Targaryen Civil War is beginning in Season 2, they will not have armies teleporting around the continent of Westeros as the plot requires. No, he stressed in print in this interview, quote, "The thing about medieval times is that wars happen very slowly. A throne is usurped, but then you don't suddenly have Black Hawk helicopters bombing out of the horizon and fast-roping Marines onto the ground at enemy territory. You have to raise armies." I just love the visual he put in there. It's not like they're fast-roping in out of helicopters, zero dark 30ing. That isn't how medieval wars work. Because they're not modern nation-states, they don't have standing armies. That there will be fighting in Season 2 by rushing out the household guards and household knights, the forces they have on hand. But it will take time to raise their armies, and people don't think about what does raise an army mean. You need to assemble them, you need to spend weeks to months training them, outfitting them, and you have the blacksmiths working day and night to try and make enough weapons and armor for them to be armed with more than hoes and pitchforks. Some of the rabble are, but assembling an army takes time, and this is a plot point in the books. I'm happy he's stressing this. The full armies. That's a big thing, like when Jace goes to the north and wins the Arryns and Starks over to their side. Cregan Stark stresses to him, "It will take me months to a year to raise all of my forces into a full army 30,000 strong. What I can do is send you the smaller number of 2,000 picked men who are my active soldiers and guards. So I'm not going to be able to send you a lot of men, but I can send you my best men, you see. That I can send you 2,000 of my best trained and equipped warriors, all of them mounted. And they do have an impact. They're the Winter Wolves. But then there's a later phase when they, a year later, can have full armies from each different part, and the Greens as well, with the High Towers. It takes time to assemble a High Tower army to their full strength, because neither side thought there would be a large war. The Greens wanted a coup. They didn't think there would be a large war. They thought this would end without a fight, and the Blacks, of course, are taken by surprise. On top of that, there hasn't been a major war in 80 years. So in terms of their assembly time, they're bad at it. This isn't even like when, in Game of Thrones, when Robert's Rebellion was within living memory. This will be a plot point that they are stumbling into going to war and assembling everything. And that they're taking the effort to show this takes time, actually 3 steps, that other parts of this interview stress that the war of quills and ravens, as the book puts it, isn't quite over yet, that they're playing the Game of Thrones, the titular thing of politics, that they're trying to win the different great houses to their sides. And you see a lot more of the different houses taking one side or the other. And case in point, Jace, that he has to go north. Step 1 is win over the support of the Starks. Step 2 is it takes time to, quote, raise the army in terms of assembling them, outfitting them, and training them. And then step 3, travel time. It will take time to get the army where you need it to go. From the Hightower side of things, even once they assemble their army, they go, well, because there's so many black supporters in the north half of the Reach, it takes them like a year to get to the Crownlands because they have to fight every step of the way. And it is slow moving. It's an actual campaign. So we're not even talking about battles anymore. By late Game of Thrones, it's just, oh, a battle happened. And they don't think about wars are campaigns, where it's not just the point where everyone's fighting, but the march that the army took to that position, and the skirmishing and scouting and the logistics of it. By the end of the season, it takes until the end of season 2, we know from spy photos, it will end with, okay, it took a full season, but the full army of the Westerlands under the Lannisters is leaving Golden Tooth. You actually see that in the trailer now. That we've known that for a while, that it'll take a full season to raise their full standing armies. Why did Game of Thrones have full standing armies by the end of season 1? Well, there actually were time skips where they go, like, a month has passed, they've raised all the bannermen. Combined with they're better at raising armies quickly because they've had a war before, versus this is very slow, they've never had a full civil war like this, they don't really know the process of let's quickly assemble everyone, they're not really good at it. So just, I love that they stressed that even the training time will be a factor, much less travel time. And that this quote promises us so much, and I hope they stress this more in specific dialogue, of how much time do you think it takes to raise an army? And sooner or later, I also hope, like, season 2 will stress what I've said before, when Jace goes from Blackwater Bay to Winterfell and the Wall, someone say it would be absurd to think a dragon can fly from Blackwater Bay to the Wall in a single day. That it even says in the book, oh yeah, Winterfell to the Wall is a bit of a long journey for a dragon. Alysanne had to stop at certain points on her dragon, like at Queen's Crown and stuff. So I hope they really stress and hammer it over the TV-only crowd in dialogue just to make it clear. Part of what made this so popular is the realism of the politics and the logistics. Things like, we need to ally with the Tyrells or we'll run out of food. Now that's, I hope they also mention, of one of the reasons that the Greens attack, like the Rosbys in Duskendale in the Crownlands, is we got blockaded by sea. How else are we going to get food except by land? And the blacks in the north part of the Reach are cutting off food supplies from the High Towers in Old Town. That there are realistic, pragmatic needs in war. Of we're going after specific resources. We're not just running around hacking zombies with respawning Dothraki armies, you know? So I maybe feel really good that he gave this quote in an interview.